Welcome back to the Solo Promoter YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for giving this video a like and subscribing if you feel like it. And a big shout out to all our Golden Circle channel members. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to share something with you that I have not shared with very many people. I think my wife knows about this, but I don't think I've shared it with her. Like, I'm going to share it with you. This is my wrestling fandom scrapbook. I don't even know how photo album. I don't even know how I start. Well, we'll see when we get into this why I started doing it. But flipping through it even now, just a couple pages before we started going, before I started filming this, I was like, what was I doing? I don't understand what I was doing. This encapsulated for, I don't know how we can absolutely date this. Definitely mid to late 80s. This encapsulated my entire wrestling fandom right here. So let's go. And as I said, I have not shared this with very many people, but I'm going to share it with you. So the reason that I started this photo album was really to as a place to collect all the LJN Wrestling Superstars bio cards. So this first part of this thing is going to be all those bio cards. And yeah, and that's what we're going to do. You can see that I have sections of the card back. I don't know whose card back this was. It says Pro Wrestling there. And this I cut out definitely from one of the programs I got from going to a matches, because it would say WWF Superstars, then it would have all those pictures of the superstars. And yeah, here we go. So they're in alphabetical order, of course. I have to put the King Kong Bundy one back in here. This is not sticky anymore, so these are just falling right out of here. But I do have the King Kong Bundy one. I don't know if I have the Ted Arcidi one, but I know that the King Kong Bundy one fell out. Wherever possible, I would put an actual picture. Let me zoom in just a little bit more here. I would put an actual picture of the wrestler. So like Junkyard Dog has his, Andre the Giant has his. And these are just the bio cards from the back of the things, you know, the figures. So Hulk Hogan, Hillbilly Jim, Special Delivery Jones, Paul Orndorff, Corporal Kirshner's got his picture there. And I'm guessing that like some of these, like Morocco doesn't have his. I guess I never got a card with him on the back, or else I'm sure I would have put it in there. Cowboy Bob Orton, Roddy Piper, Bruno Sammartino, Tito Santana, Randy Savage, the Iron Sheik, which I guess I was alphabetizing by his last name, Sheik, apparently. Oh, this gets better. Don't just think that this whole thing is filled with bio cards, because you're in for a real treat here. Snuka, Steamboat, George the Animal Steel, Stud, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Jesse the Body Ventura. Again, pictures where I had pictures of the people. And Nikolai Volkov. And then here is new Wrestling Superstars managers. Then I have the managers cards. Those are all, of course, in alphabetical order. So Captain Lou, Freddie Blassie, Miss Elizabeth, Mr. Fuji, Mean Gene, Jimmy the Mouth of South Heart. I own this jacket. This jacket is mine. I have it. It is in a closet upstairs. Bobby the Brain Heenan, Vince McMahon, Lesher Johnny V. I can tell you that Vince McMahon, I bought... I didn't have Vince McMahon in the original... figures, when I have figures. I bought a carded one much later, and yes, I opened the package and cut out the card, which, you know, now if I had it sealed, I could make $1 million because he's a total piece of shit. But anyway, there you go. Continuing on here, we've got, more card backs. I guess there's Ted, when they started doing these, I wasn't able to cut them out. I never had the tag teams as a kid. I never had those, and I never had, Hercules or Jake the Snake. I do have those figures now, but I never... Are these the... Yeah, these are the regular figures. I never had those figures. Then we go into the thumb wrestlers, we go into the Sling'em Fling'em Wrestling Ring. Checklist where I started checking things off. And as you can see, I didn't have... Man, I would have loved the Heart Foundation when I was a kid. I just never found them. Killer Bees I didn't have. I had all the rest of these. And the bendies. Here's a news article. This is from Wednesday, March 23rd, 1988. And this is from my great-grandfather. Grant, I thought you might enjoy reading this if you haven't already seen it, Papa. And so this is Papa. And I don't really know much of this. Frankly, I'm starting to worry about... This is from the San Francisco Examiner. I'm starting to worry about this Hulk Hogan's mental state. The Hulkster is one of just 2 living human beings with his own Marvel comic. The other guy, Pope John Paul II, doesn't strike me as someone prone to emotional breakdowns. What will happen to the youth of this nation if a living comic book hero goes bananas? You may have noticed the change in Hulkster's TV demeanor. Where he used to be merely maniacal and wild-eyed, he now seems totally out of control, obsessed, and perhaps even self-destructive. So that was a great article. My family put up with my wrestling mania, for sure. Here's the bendies, the 6-inch. I never had the 6-inch posable thing. I had lots of the thumb wrestlers. I have a picture of one of my birthdays where it's me and one of my next-door neighbors, the dad of one of my next-door neighbors, doing a thumb wrestle war. And so here we go. This is a back I got off of a Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling collectible pin. I think I may not still have these pins. But I just cut out all the faces and I labeled them here in my handwriting. Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Mr. Fuji, Andre the Giant, Tito Santana, they're all here. So this was around WrestleMania 2. So you can see, this is the lead up to WrestleMania 2. Here's Puffy stickers. I definitely got a sheet of Puffy stickers. This is really cool. This is a picture, one of the few pictures. Let's see if we can show this without too much of a glare. It's not the greatest picture in the world. This is my bedroom. And this is, I had the figures on this little ledge. It was like a thing with a mirror. It's like this antique thing that my mom had. But you can see I have the Junkyard Dog poster. I don't know if you can see that. It's right there. But this is where I kept my figures. I kept them in the ring. And I built a little announce table. And I had a wood burning kit. And I built wooden stairs that would go up to the ring. So there we go. Here we go. Pro wrestling maniacs are feuding again. Professional wrestling is good guys versus bad guys. So in order to update the local feud, so it's in order to update the local feud between 2 major syndicates. Vince McMahon's World Wrestling Federation out of New York, featuring everybody from henna-headed rock stars to Hulk Hogan, blasted into this area and almost erased Leo Nomellini's promotions for Vern Gagne's rival, American Wrestling Association, out of Minneapolis. That is interesting because we got Leo Nomellini in in Legends for Filsinger Games. Ex-49er Leo was a wounded lion, but reports of his demise were exaggerated. He and the AWA will return with a show Sunday at the Kaiser Center Arena in Oakland, the former Oakland Auditorium, with some 6,500 seats. The site is small, but the card is typical of the AWA, strong from top to bottom with names like Bruiser Brody, Jerry Blackwell, and Sergeant Slaughter, with area favorite Ray Stevens as matchmaker. I have no knowledge of the AWA. I was such a WWE fan, a WWF fan. I got to scan this and post it online because it's actually pretty great. I never saw any other wrestling in the San Francisco Bay Area. So here we go. You'll see a lot of these. Just any mention of wrestling in the paper, I would cut out. So here is our local paper always ran these ads. Wednesday, September 10th, 8 p.m. The Machines and Captain Lou Albano versus Stud Bundy and Bobby Heenan. Randy Savage versus George Animal Steel. Rematch, Tito Santana versus Cowboy Bob Orton. Rotundo and Spivey versus Hart and Neidhart, plus 3 other exciting matches. Cards subject to change. Bass Ticket Centers. Here is just a sentence that I got out of somewhere. Hulk Hogan is set to make his movie debut. Naturally, we all can't wait. I don't know where this is, probably from a wrestling program. Here is an LJN ad. I think this is from the Mervyn's ad. And then here's just a little tiny blurb that says World Wrestling Federation matches, Oakland Coliseum Arena, 8 p.m. So that's obviously in the San Francisco Chronicle, just a listing for the event that's happening. Saturday night's main event, season premiere. Bouts include Hulk Hogan versus the Wild Samoan and Honky Tonk Man versus Macho Man Randy Savage. And Dolly, here is a thing for Dolly when Hulk Hogan was on Dolly Parton's variety show with Pee Wee Herman and Oprah. And Hulk Hogan were on there too. So very, very cool there. More just ads here. A lot of these, my grandmother used to get, what was it, the National Enquirer? And so they would run a lot of articles about wrestling. And so I would cut these all out. Top pro wrestlers' wages will throw you for a loop. Hulk Hogan, $1 million. Roddy Piper, $700,000. The Junkyard Dog, $400,000. Andre the Giant, $400,000. Mr. Wonderful, $350,000. I don't know why either this was like an ad that I cut out, or they were wrestlers not in the WWF that I did not care about. So I might have just cut those out. What wrestling maulers fear most? Their sissy real names. So this is an article about the real names of wrestlers, which, were no huge secret. But as a kid, I was like, wow, that's their real names. And then this, I just think, is hilarious because this is, Jimmy Hart is my favorite guy ever of all time. And it's just this manager, Jimmy Hart. And I must have cut this out of a wrestling program. But I found this zebra stripe thing to put underneath it in real scrapbook fashion. Shifting alliances here. And so this is all these moves that wrestlers are going to, different managers. So this whole thing is Great the Hammer Valentine from Jimmy Hart to Luscious Johnny V. Terry Funk to Jimmy Hart. King Kong Bundy from Hart to Bobby the Brain Heenan. Adrian Adonis, newly returned to the WWF, to Hart. There's no honor among thieves. So yeah, this is just an article that was in one of the programs for sure. So this is just the kind of stuff that I would cut out and I would put into this scrapbook. All right, so here's where things get fun. Just pictures. This was more from that article about the Switches run because it mentioned Jimmy Hart, and of course I had to have it. So this is obviously something I just wrote on a computer and printed out on a dot matrix printer, and this is in the WWF. There are many superb managers. If these great men and women were not there, who would help the many great wrestlers with their everyday training? This story will name and describe the top 5 managers in the WWF. First, in the number 5 spot, it is Mr. Fuji. Mr. Fuji has many great tag teams. He manages greats such as Magnificent Don Morocco and the Ace Cowboy Bob Orton, the Ugandan Headhunter Kamala and Sika, the Wild Samoan, and Axe and Smash the Demolition. Next, in the number 4 spot, is Slick. Slick manages the very powerful wrestlers such as the One Man Gang, the Natural Butch Reed, and the tag team of, that should be Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik, I couldn't spell, the lovely Elizabeth. Number 2 is Bobby Heenan. Then, of course, number 1 manager in WWF is Jimmy the Mouth of South Hart. He manages many fine athletes like adorable, spelled wrong, Adrian Adonis, the tag team champs, Bret the Hitman Hart, and Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and the Intercontinental champ, the Honky Tonk Man. I hope you've enjoyed this story. Grant Spike Pachoco. That has nothing to do with Champions of the Galaxy's Spike. That's just what I was calling myself for whatever reason. Here's just an ad for WWF videos. Now available, Wrestling's Living Legend, Bruno Sammartino, the best of the WWF Fallen 7, Villains of the Squared Circle, $59 each, back when they were super expensive. Here is an ad for WrestleMania 2. for the VHS of WrestleMania 2. Here is just I used to just take those programs and just totally cut them up and put them in here. So WWF Champion, Hulk Hogan, Doggone, Funk's Fit to be Tied over JYD. So, of course, Jimmy Hart was involved. So, of course, I had to cut this out. I always loved Jake the Snake Roberts. I thought he was great. So this is an article from one of the programs as well. Keep an Eye on Jimmy Hart. Of course, I had to I had to cut that out, of course. This is from Mad Magazine. Unexplained Apparitions number 23, July 11th. Oh, no, it's not from Mad Magazine. It's just from the newspaper, from the comic book section. An Andre the Giant doll suddenly materializes in the window at Husker's Bakery, Zindon, Iowa. And I just love that whoever drew this comic, that's not exactly what the Andre the Giant figure looked like, but it's pretty close. It's pretty great. The Professional, Paul Orndorff. Another victory. Bundy rolls over opponents. Bundy mounts a massive assault. Race for the belts. So this was kind of like who are the champs and who are the contenders. And absolutely cut this out because Jimmy Hart was there, of course. But fun to see Stud, Hercules, Desiree Peterson, Velvet McIntyre, Santana, and George Steele, and the Dream Team and the Hart Foundation. So this is obviously after WrestleMania 2. I was never a huge British Bulldogs fan, but obviously I cut this out and I put it in my scrapbook. 2 Brits and a Yank championship combination. Tito gets belted and Randy gets the belt. So that's when he won that. Big John Studd, what's he's up to now? Mention of Ted Arcidi there. Keep an Eye on. Here's Keep an Eye on Steamboat. Les Thornton, Corporal Kirshner, Barry O, and Siva Offie. Now these were stickers that I got out of gumball machines that I had stuck on my binder at school. But then when the binder started falling apart, I cut these out and put them here in the scrapbook. So remember these stickers were always great. I loved not just wrestling stickers, but it was always very, very cool. And these, obviously, I don't think they're licensed. There's no WWF copyright at all. Here are the stickers from the trading cards. A couple more. I guess I stuck these on my binder as well. Ivan Putski, Roddy Piper. Here is an ad for, I think this did this come with the game? I think it did. I think this came with the game, or maybe it came with the puzzle. I think I had this puzzle. I don't remember. I don't know where it is. Here's where this is fun stuff right here. This is my the cards that I went to. So June 18th, 1986. Wednesday, February 10th, maybe 1987, or February 11th, because this might be. Yeah, this is the same thing here. Yeah, because my dad would take me. So this is my dad's ticket and my ticket, and he would let me save them. And I believe this is the first one I ever went to, this June 18th. May 11th, 1987. That had to have been a birthday trip. Here's some wrestling results from the... this is what's going to be happening at the Cow Palace. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Harley Race, Brutus Beefcake versus Johnny V, the Killer Bees versus Demolition. This is, I think, Scott Casey versus Frenchie Martin. I think this is there's a YouTube channel called WWF History, and they're posting promos, and I think it is from I think some of the promos were from that. So here's just another ad for VHS tapes. Here are more. Oh, look at this stuff. This is so much fun. There's my old address. We don't live there anymore, so that's fine. There's our Visa card number. I might have to gray that out. I don't think my dad still has that Visa card, but just in case. Yeah, look at this. So these dates are even before the other dates. Sunday, November 17th, 1985. So that is the first one I ever went to. So I was wrong about this June 18th one. I got to go back and find this Sunday, November 17th, because that certainly was the first one. 1985. 87, 86. Yeah, I got to put these in order. So here's the cover of Mad Magazine that had Hulk Hogan on it. I, of course, had to pick it up. And then just really anything wrestling related from that episode, I would cut out. So if you've seen that, you've seen all these. Oh, and yeah, here is the ad. Here is the ad for that thing with Steamboat versus Harley Race and Beefcake versus Johnny V, etc. So more just things that I cut out of the Fabulous Moolah will file a $10 million lawsuit against the toy manufacturer Superstars of Wrestling Action Figures following their release of a Moolah doll complete with midriff bulge and cellulite. That's not really that nice. Here's just a random picture of Tito Santana. This was, I think, from another Mad magazine, and I just cut it out because it was involved with wrestling. Here's another race for the belts that talks about the different people going for the belts. All still pretty much the same. Here is the classic song, The Ballad of the Blue Cyclone by Ray Stevens, handwritten out by me. Why did I do this? I don't know, but I did. And in my very best cursive. So there you go. Here is the wrestling album cassette. Let me tell you a story about this. I knew when this was coming out, I got it for Christmas, and I knew I was going to get it. And I knew which president was, and my Auntie Cindy got me the wrestling album, that got me the cassette, and we picked up our presents from my aunt at Thanksgiving, and I knew that was it. It was already wrapped, but I knew that was in that, and so it sat under the tree from Thanksgiving till Christmas, and I would go out and visit that present every single day because I was like, I can't wait to get this album. And I did, and I loved it. And then, of course, here is all the, the credits. I just completely cut this whole thing apart. Yeah, absolutely. I love the wrestling album. One of the greatest things ever. And there's The Land of a Thousand Dances by the Wrestlers, of course. That's the old classic cover of the album. Now this... was this friend of mine. I was in junior high school, and I don't think he was like an exchange student, but he didn't speak a lot of English, but he spoke a lot of Japanese, and he drew this for me, and I just thought this was the coolest thing in the entire world. I wonder what it's on the back of. It looks like it's on the back of some sort of paper. Here's Wrestling Superstars Bendies. So again, just like I did with the LJNs, I cut out stuff from the packaging. And then I had the ring, the Cage Match Challenge ring. I never sent away for this belt buckle, but I did pick it up in later years. And so here's the rules from that wrestling ring. Here is Thursday, October 9th at the Cow Palace. A $50,000 tag team battle royal. So I definitely cut this out because Hart and Neidhart were listed on there for sure. An honest, impartial look at wrestling. So I went out to this is from the San Francisco Examiner. It's commentary, and went to see Hulk Hogan. Yeah, so he just kind of talks about going to a wrestling match. That is from Wednesday, March 4th, 1987. Here's WrestleMania 3. Now, here's what I will tell you. I got grounded. I don't remember exactly what I did, but as my punishment, I couldn't go see this on the giant screen at the closed circuit TV, WrestleMania 3. I missed it live. I missed it absolutely live. I cut out the results here, and yeah, I don't remember what I did, but I did something pretty bad, and I got grounded. And I will say that my dad later bought me WrestleMania 3 on VHS because that was really the only way you could see it. And I wore the hell out of that tape. But yeah, I didn't get to see it live. Here's some of my own drawings. I always thought if I was a wrestler, my wrestler name would be the California Bodyguard. I don't know why, but there's obviously me and my manager of some sort. Great King Kong. That was another drawing, I think, by that same guy. Here's another ad for a return to Oakland. Superstar Billy Graham versus the Natural Butch Reed. Honky Tonk Man versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Macho Man versus King Harley Race. The Hart Foundation versus Paul Roma and Jimmy Powers. I think they have posted videos of this on that WWF history as well. Daisuke Watanabe, Ichiban, #1. So he drew me as the California Bodyguard, which I thought was fantastic. These stickers are great, featuring, I don't know where I got these. I mean, obviously they're from Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling, but I Heart Hulk Hogan, I Heart Roddy Piper, etc., etc., etc. Here's a High and Lois. Where's my Trixie? What's she up to now? Ah, there you are. Okay, Trixie the Terrible. Let's see how good you can wrestle. Ow, she's got an arm lock on me. Yeah, now it's a nose grab. Ugh, help, get me out of this headlock. You win, I surrender. If you ask me, Dad's a better actor than the pros. So it mentioned wrestling. I cut it out. I put it in here. Here is from the giant wish book. Here are the ones I said I needed, of course. And obviously at some point at Christmas, I don't know what catalog this came out of. But obviously I have these, so I don't need those. I needed Macho Man Randy Savage. But I cut this all out and I put it in my thing. I don't think I ever had this sleeping bag. Of course, a picture of Jimmy Hart. I think this was probably hung up on my wall. It looks like there's tape underneath it. And then, of course, I had Daisuke draw Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Jimmy the Mouth of South Hart. He's holding his popsicle stick. He was a much better artist than I considered myself to be. So very, very cool. All right, so here we go. These are pictures from... I don't know if it's from this event, but from an event that I went to. I think so, because that looks like Paul Orndorff. I'm sure that's Hulk Hogan. They're not very good pictures. There's Jake the Snake. This, I think, is the one super clear picture of Hercules. And then here's just another LJN Superstars managers ad. There's Jake the Snake. And I'm assuming that's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So our seats were not bad. We were up there pretty close. And then here's an article about Jesse the Body Ventura being in Predator, and then a review of it that said that he was pretty good. He was pretty good. What else? Skipped a page here. Here is a napkin from my birthday at some point. So I saved that. Hulk Hogan versus Randy Macho Man Savage, Billy Jack Haynes versus Hercules, Ken Patera versus Paul Orndorff, the Jumping Bomb Angels versus the Golden Girls. Yeah, and then just here's a listing for them. Is that for this one? Yeah, I think so. Yep, Oakland Coliseum Arena, 7:30. Magnificent Morocco and Cowboy Bob Orton versus Chavo Guerrero and Jerry Allen. Special Delivery Jones versus Tiger Chung Lee. Scott Casey versus Butch Reed. So obviously later on, I got the cage match accessory. So that is what I put here. And of course, I cut up the box. And if I would have kept the box in mint condition, I could have a fortune now. But there you go. Here's the classic Superstars page. So that thing on the front page is where I cut out of here. But yeah. I love these. I would look at them forever. Here is a thing about wrestler King Kong Kirk was crushed to death by his 336-pound opponent who dived atop him in his favorite Big Daddy Splashdown in a match before 2,000 fans. The police says no charges will be filed on the death that stunned the crowd at the Hippodrome. I should look that up now and see if that is true. This is Tuesday, August 25th, 1987. It must be from the San Francisco Chronicle. Oh, here's from the WWF fan club, the sticker sheet, because of course I had to join that. And this is tickets from the Cow Palace, Friday, October 30th. So we went to this. Randy Macho Man Savage versus the Honky Tonk Man. Bam Bam Bigelow versus King Kong Bundy. Strike Force versus the Islanders. Superstar Billy Graham versus the Natural Butch Reed. Billy Jack Haynes, Outlaw Ron Bass, George Animal Steel, Danny Davis, Scott Casey versus Iron Mike Sharp. So there's the tickets for those. I wonder, I don't know if it's in here. We'll have to see. Assembly rules, pro wrestling isn't a sport. Calling pro wrestling a joke and a sham. The state assembly voted yesterday to end regulation and licensing on such characters as Jake the Snake Roberts and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. So there you go. Today on television, Hulk Hogan battles Andre the Giant in the main event, the first primetime network wrestling show in 33 years. So I cut all that. Andre the Giant pinned Hulk Hogan for the WWF heavyweight title. So I cut out a little. This was so important, I had to emphasize it with a little construction paper there. And so here's WrestleMania 4. Here's some results. And about Savage winning at WrestleMania 4. Oops. And this might be the end. Like, obviously I had things on these other sheets, but they are out. There you go, friends. 30 minutes of me talking about my... seriously, I have not shared that with very many people. So consider yourself lucky is what I'm saying. I'm trying to find this page with the Jimmy Hart because this just cracks me up. There you go, friends. Let me know what you think. Hey, it's wrestling themed, so it's on the channel. I appreciate you checking this out. Thanks again to all the Golden Circle channel members, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye, everybody.